And get this, the Lakers were bringing him in with the intention of him being a leader.
Dennis the Menace brings discipline, maturity, and stability to the Lakers? Say what? Yeah, I agree. Say what? All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you all are having a good night so far. Hope you guys had a wonderful, peaceful day. I was asked to check out this video here, and this is from the member section, and I'm really glad because this one, this was right on my radar here. So this is from Johnny Arnett, and the title of this one is The Roller Coaster Season of Dennis Rodman on the Lakers. Honestly, I'm excited to watch this myself because though I remember this era, it didn't last very long. So I'm sure there's going to be some stuff in here that I didn't even know about, and that's what I look forward to with Johnny Arnett videos anyways. I always get to learn something new, and y'all know I'm down with that. So, guys, without further ado, real quick, those who don't remember the timeline, Dennis was a Piston. He got booted off the team. He was a Spur, and he played great with San Antonio, but him and Pop had big problems, so that didn't work out. Then he went to the Bulls. Y'all know what he did there. Won 3 championships with the Bulls. Then, after they broke up in '98, he had a stint with the Lakers and then a stint with Dallas, and I think that's where it all ends. So, anyways, you guys, let's check this out and see what happened while he was with the Lakers. He would be with Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Phil Jackson. It's an interesting story here. So, guys, like I always do, I'm going to link the original video from Johnny Arnett down below in the description box. Highly recommend his channel. Y'all know how I feel about Johnny Arnett's content. I've been calling him the truth seeker for a long time because he just seems to just put it out there no matter what. He doesn't have a narrative. It's just this is what happened, and this is his opinion on it. So I have a lot of respect for Johnny, and link is down below for you guys. Also wanted to shout out channel members. There's a list of channel members in the description. Thank you all for your support, especially in this time where YouTube is just absolutely gone bonkers with their AI implementation, and it's an absolute nightmare for us content creators right now. But anyways, I appreciate you all. Guys, like the video, hit the hype button. I think that helps too. And I appreciate you all. Let's do this. At this point, it's funny. It's like the video, subscribe if you like the content, hit the hype button, hit the subscribe plus button if you want to become a member. It's like, there's too much.
The NBA Hall of Famer, Dennis Keith Rodman. What if I told you that one of the most fascinating periods of his career is one that many people don't even know about, which was a small window of time filled with many highs, lows, and plenty of controversy. As you all know, the Worm was a 5-time NBA champion who won 2 titles with the Pistons and 3 with the Chicago Bulls. He's one of the top 5 greatest rebounders of all time.
Yep.
And he's one of the top 5 greatest defensive players in NBA history.
I mean, in my opinion, once you add in the height disadvantage he had against all the other greatest rebounders of all time, I'll say I think he's the best rebounder I've ever seen. You know, greatness, that's a whole different conversation. But screw the stats. A guy his size doing what he did on the offensive rebounding end especially, I've never seen anything nearly that good.
The vast majority of his career is well documented and well known by the general audience. But contrary to popular belief, there was another fascinating chapter in his story, even after his time with the Bulls. At the end of the 1997 to 1998 NBA season, the Bulls were celebrating their 6th championship in 8 seasons. But the spoils of success were bittersweet, because the Bulls general manager, Jerry Krause, was determined to blow up the very roster that had made his name famous.
Yes, sir.
Phil Jackson was forced out of his head coaching position. Michael Jordan retired in response to Jackson's firing. Scottie Pippen was traded to the Houston Rockets, and the 37-year-old Dennis Rodman was simply cut by the Bulls management, leaving him as a free agent for any potential suitors within the league. The thing is, there was no interest, at least for a while. Yes, Rodman was coming off of recent championship success in Chicago, but he was also remembered for being a locker room headache in his latter years in Detroit and in his 2 seasons in San Antonio.
I mean, let's be real. He was a problem in Chicago as well, but they did a good job of navigating it. That was the best place for him. I always stand by it. Phil Jackson, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, whatever it was, that combination kept him enough in check where he can focus on the game most of the time.
He was also clearly on the decline, as he started in less than half of the Bulls' playoff games in 1998 and didn't start in a single game of the NBA Finals. Not only was he a risk from a chemistry standpoint, but even the upside was now limited due to his quickly increasing age. But alas, one team was desperate enough to make the call: the Los Angeles Lakers. Although the Lakers were certainly one of the most talented teams in the league at the time, to describe them as a work in progress would be an understatement.
Yep.
They had been swept and gentlemen swept out of the last 2 postseasons, and were annually failing to live up to their high expectations. They were a group of dysfunctional egos. Their leader was best described as a giant entitled child, who was as sensitive and demanding as he was playful. Their 20-year-old phenom was anxious to assert himself, and his selfish and showboating approach to the game had often alienated his teammates.
Jackson is quoted as calling Kobe a juvenile narcissist. Yeah. Man, Phil really had his hands full in those early years with the Lakers, didn't he? Between Shaq being like having such an ego, and then young Kobe having such an ego as well, and then butting heads, and man, what a rough time that must have been as a coach.
Causing them to resent him. Their head coach, Kurt Rambis, was a rookie at the position, and he had just replaced the fired Del Harris after 12 games played in the new season. Rambis had no experience as a head coach, and although he was immersed in the players' egos, managing them would be a near impossible task, because he was just starting to get his feet wet with the playbook, let alone the players. On top of all of that, they were now adding the league's most notorious locker room wildcard. And get this, the Lakers were bringing him in with the intention of him being a leader.
Dennis the Menace brings discipline, maturity, and stability to the Lakers? Say what? Yeah, I agree. Say what? I mean, he brings a hell of a lot of rebounds. That's what he's going to bring. But he's going to cost a lot of other stuff. A lot of instability.
And teaching this team how to win. Yeah. The guy who took Vegas vacations mid-season on the Bulls was now being leaned upon to lead in LA. Many began to question if the Great Western Forum was now being lead in LA.
Magic was sick of Rodman. Instead of being thrilled about the prospect of Dennis joining the Purple and Gold, Magic, part owner. Was he? Is he? Is he a part owner of the team? Interesting. Anyways, was irked by Rodman postponing his decision. Okay.
Many began to question if the Great Western Forum was now...
Okay, continues on. I'm tired of this, I am. Magic says, I'm going to say this tonight. I've been holding it. It's like a circus now. Yeah. Oh, man. I wonder how you feel about it now. It's gotten so much worse for the Lakers.
Now becoming a purple and gold circus. To say that the team was split on the acquisition would be an understatement. The Lakers owner, Jerry Buss, was elated to get it done, while their general manager, Jerry West, wasn't thrilled in the slightest. Shaquille O'Neal was thrilled with the move, but the Lakers starting point guard, Derek Harper, said that he thought it was yet another distraction for the team.
I always forget Harp was on this team.
They say that first impressions are important. And if that's the case, then there's a lot to take away from Rodman's. After plenty of public speculation, Dennis officially announced he was joining the Lakers in a Planet Hollywood casino. Or at least, that's what every reporter in the building expected. He showed up 40 minutes late to his own event alongside of his wife, Carmen Electra. He appeared intoxicated, talked about the great intimacy he was having with his wife, and said that he wanted to play with the Lakers and wanted to play basketball again, as if nothing was agreed upon with the organization. He then told the group of reporters that he only called for a meeting to see if they would show up, and they did. Then a frustrated reporter told Rodman that he was selfish and that he had wasted their time. And then Rodman proceeded to cry and rant about how he's misunderstood. So the reporters never got an official announcement from Dennis.
Wow, is there a full version of that video? Like, what a speech. I've never seen this speech that he made, or whatever you want to call this, him up at a podium with a microphone. I've never seen this.
But 2 days later, the world would now know from the media that he had officially become a Los Angeles Laker. The city of Los Angeles had championship expectations for the last several years, and seeing how they hadn't won a title since the Showtime era in the late 80s, they were basically starving at this point. Now, after adding a player who had been a part of the last 3 NBA championship teams, the crowds were electric, as Rodman was rewarded with a standing ovation for basically every play he did right.
I always forget too. I always, in my head, you know how like we remember things a certain way. In my head, Phil Jackson was the coach here. But that ain't the truth now, is it? That ain't the truth. I've been lying to myself here. Kurt Rambis is the coach.
Rodman wants it. Rodman taps the ball to Shaq and he scores. Rodman on a double tip.
Maybe that's why this didn't work.
No other player on the Laker team could have made that rebound.
He is so good at just tapping the basketball.
He'll be good to drive, stop, 20-foot jumper and way short. Rebound and Rodman grabbed by Rodman. Underneath
offensive
the
boards, man.
Shaq scores. Rodman's second rebound. Look at
offensive rebounds are so much more valuable than defensive rebounds, you guys. You get a second opportunity at a score. It's absolutely priceless to have a dude just boxing out on the offensive end like that.
People standing, shaking their fists, shaking the building.
A simple rebound, and he gets a standing ovation. That one, the ball bounced right to him, but it didn't matter.
Even his teammates were starting to feel the buzz, as the Lakers were not only clicking with their new addition, but they were winning. They defeated the Clippers in his debut game, and then they comfortably beat Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets, with Michael Jordan spectating in the crowd, looking like a proud father. After they won their first 2 games with Rodman in the lineup, Dennis took some time to talk about his leadership with Ahmad Rashad, and even managed to forget his own wife's name for a moment.
I have seen this one.
Dennis Rodman, Dennis, there's so much hype, so much hoopla with you coming on this team about you being the answer. You guys should now go straight to the championship. Do you feel any pressure with all that on your shoulders?
I think the last time I felt pressure when I got married. Everyone in this world knows what I can do and what I can bring to a team. I bring excitement, I bring a lot of hustle, enthusiasm, and this team needs something right now. They need a little leadership, and I thought I'd never say that. But, I'm on a different team with good young guys.
Yeah, but you do lead in your own way.
Yeah.
But you have played on some great basketball teams. As you look around you on this team, does this team have the potential of winning NBA championships?
Well, these guys to keep focused, stay focused every day, and go out there and do what it takes to win. No matter who scores the point, no matter who's the hero that day, just go out there and work together as a team.
And you
it's actually a really positive message.
The leader in that area.
Well, I go out there and do what I do. I go out there and play the biggest guys, the toughest guys. They see me go out there doing it every day in and day out. I hope it rubs off.
All right, Dennis, good to see you, man. Good luck to you.
I want to say hello to my wife, Tara Patrick. I hope that you're going to...
Los Angeles
Nice assist by Ahmad.
continued their dominating run and started the Worm era with a 10-game winning streak, after starting the season with a 6-6 record without him. Over that stretch, Rodman was averaging 10.3 rebounds per game and only 25 minutes of action per night.
Wow.
He got as many as 20 rebounds in a victory over the Clippers. At this point, even Jerry West had changed his tune, as he referred to Rodman as a basketball genius in an interview. You would think, with this much success, that it would be all smiles in the Lakers locker room. But unfortunately, that wasn't exactly the case, as Rodman missed several team practices, while other teammates complained about the unequal standards that they were held to. Rodman's gambling and party-heavy lifestyle continued, which resulted in public rumors that he was cheating on his wife.
Man, Ron Harper
Even
looks
Shaq,
happy there.
who was initially in favor of bringing in Rodman, was starting to become frustrated with his questionable practices and decision-making, as he would often take naps during team scrimmages and often smelled repulsive, since he only showered before games rather than after.
Yeah. Shaq always talks about. It makes me wonder though, because I think Shaq was mad at how much instant attention Dennis got. He'd never probably admit it, but whenever I've seen him on podcasts and stuff talking about Dennis Rodman, like it's always about that. Like this guy getting all this attention, and he stunk. He'd go into the club without taking a shower after games and all this stuff, and it really sounds kind of like jealousy.
Would quickly get even more wild. After the 10th straight win, Rodman had to leave the team for personal reasons, and apparently even the head coach Kurt Rambis didn't know why. There were rumors that Rodman had unpaid gambling debts. There were rumors that Elektra was now cheating on him, and there were even rumors that they were getting a divorce. Needless to say, it was a distraction for the Lakers, as Dennis missed their next 3 games, and LA went 1-2 in that stretch. When he returned to the lineup, the Lakers would win their next 2 games over Orlando and Dallas, which meant their winning streak was extended to 12 games when Rodman was in the lineup. As a reward for his play, Rodman was moved to the starting lineup for the first time. But although his minutes may have increased significantly, his level of focus seemed to decrease. The off-the-court drama was starting to affect Rodman's performance, as he was lacking his usual effort defensively, while getting into an excessive amount of on-the-court altercations. He was also now missing every other team practice, as he was less reliable than ever before. All of these headaches may have been tolerable if the Rodman era maintained its dominant start, but after the 12 straight victories, Rodman and the Lakers proceeded to go 6-6. Which is the same record they had before he had signed. On April 13th, in a matchup against the Portland Trail Blazers, Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown perfectly summed up what the Rodman experiment had amounted to.
A late report on Dennis Rodman is that he has a sore left elbow and will not play in the second half. And Hubie, everyone talks about how he could be the missing link in the puzzle for the Lakers. I think at this point you'd have to say that his signing has been a detriment to this team, because with all of the problems that he has brought upon this team, missing practice, going off on his own, all of the things, we don't have time to enumerate it. He really hasn't done the job they wanted, the offensive rebounding, as much as he has.
Just think out here. There are 9 power forwards in the West who have played in the Western All-Star game. Now think about that. So he has been dominating now in the last 10 days by Karl Malone, by Weber, by Baker at Seattle, and then by Grant here this evening. Now he is getting destroyed at his strong suit, defense. He cannot control these guys, and he's being out-rebounded. So, he can pout and do all that he wants, but there are no suspensions. So who are you and I? Because they play him and start him the very next game.
Yeah.
And the very next...
That's why I always say that, yes, Dennis Rodman was a monstrous, awesome addition to the Chicago Bulls. I'm a big fan of him as a basketball player. When he's out there doing his thing on the basketball court, he's one of my favorite players of all time. But so many people get the story misunderstood. He comes with a lot of baggage, a lot of distraction, a lot of headache, a lot of drama. And you don't know what's coming tomorrow from Dennis until you get him on the court, and then you still don't know what's coming. I mean, a lot of times he'll go out there and do his job and do it well, but other days he's out there to cause trouble, and he'd get kicked out immediately, early on in a game, or he'd get kicked out at a very crucial clutch moment of a game because he would lose it, So he's my favorite rebounder of all time. Hands down, and one of the best defenders I've ever seen. But when it comes down to, is it you get Dennis on your team and now you're all good? No. You got a lot of problems to deal with Dennis on your team. And I just find it amazing every time that the Chicago Bulls were able to keep it somewhat at bay for 3 years. obviously by the end in 98, it was starting to fall apart for Dennis. I don't know how long that could have lasted after that year. And especially at the end, like Tony Kukoc was coming in, taking his place because of drama. And yeah.
In the very next team practice after these comments, Rodman would show up without his shoes or socks,
oh boy,
claiming that he didn't know where they were. And that was the last straw for the organization. Rodman was immediately released from the team. In his 23 games in Los Angeles, he averaged 2 points, 11.2 rebounds, and had a total of 11 technical fouls.
Wow.
Although many of the Lakers on that roster were relieved to see him go, one of the guys who didn't want him to leave was actually Kobe Bryant.
Kurt was put in a very tough situation. One, because he was the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, first head coaching job, and then you bring in Dennis. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I would love to have Dennis right now. I would love to. You know, win cures everything. If we don't drop these last 2 games, he's still here.
Now, the 1999 Lakers wouldn't really improve after they released Dennis Rodman. They would finish out the year with 9 wins and 9 losses, including a playoff sweep at the hands of the eventual champions San Antonio Spurs. But during the offseason, the Lakers would hire Phil Jackson to be their new head coach.
So Dennis got there 1 year too early. This could have been the difference maker, because the bond between Phil and Dennis it's huge. It's huge, and the respect level between them. And Phil actually understands Dennis in a way that I don't think any other coach has. Chuck Daly, close, but yeah, 1 year too early, Dennis.
Which would be the dawn of a new and very successful era. According to Rodman, after the Lakers had hired Jackson, he was waiting anxiously by his phone, waiting for a call from the Lakers.
Yeah.
Since him and Jackson had previously had championship success together. But that call would never come. To me, this is one of the more fascinating and interesting what-ifs in NBA history. Because if you ask me, without question, the 1999 Lakers had a much higher ceiling with Rodman in the lineup. But that team was also like a group of sheep without a shepherd. They desperately needed the calm and composed leadership that Phil Jackson would provide 1 year later, which in Rodman's case was 1 year too late. If Jackson didn't take a 1 year hiatus after his departure from the Bulls and was available for the Lakers to manage the egos, the chemistry, and the drama, then I can only imagine how much more success the Lakers would have had with Dennis Rodman in 1999.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, we'll never know for sure.
In the end, who would have thought Carmen Electra would have gotten more out of her marriage to the Worm than did the Lakers?
Wow. All right, another great video by Johnny Arnett. There's not a thing here I disagree with. Man, so okay, officially, I got to reprogram my brain. Phil Jackson was not there. Phil Jackson got there the very next year. So, because I always play that scenario in my head, like, I wonder what changed with Dennis that, you know, Phil wasn't able to kind of keep him like reeled in to the system, to the team, but it wasn't. What a nightmare situation for rookie head coach Kurt Rambis to get thrown into that. You got Shaq, Kobe already too much for anyone else to handle. Eventually, even Shaq and Kobe, it's too much to handle for Phil Jackson himself. But if there's one person who can, it's Phil. But then Kurt Rambis had to deal with not only Shaq, Kobe, but then we got Dennis Rodman out here, and it looks like, you know, this is a Dennis that, you know, I noticed at the end of '98. That was already Dennis Rodman in '98 was like, he is partying too much. He is now at the point where like basketball is secondary, and you know, the partying and the lifestyle is now his primary thing that he cares about, and you know, his image and the media and all this stuff that he was obsessed with. So you go a year later in LA, of all places to in LA. So the guy's probably partying and clubbing like there's no tomorrow. And it looks like that's pretty much what led to the end of Dennis's career, is just too much partying. I know for a couple of years there he was able to get away with it, but that level of partying, that amount of drugs and everything, it's got to catch up with you. And Dennis is like a freak of a human when it comes to stamina, and he never seems really tired. He's always go. I hear stories about after the game, a lot of times he's on the treadmill or on the exercise bike, he just has so much stamina. But eventually the drugs and the partying gotta weigh down, and I think that's what they dealt with here. And then shortly after this, his last hurrah was in Dallas, and that one, if I remember correctly, lasted even a shorter period of time. So that's the end of really what's wild is I would like to remember the end of his career being in 1998, because after that it was just 2 bad stops. But it is what it is. This is how he went out. Still always will be one of my favorite basketball players. To know that he was partying to that level and being that wild, barely ever sleeping and just being crazy, and he still was able to be, in my opinion, the best rebounder of all time and one of the greatest defenders of all time. I gotta tip my hat to this guy. I don't know how he accomplished everything he did, but I'm glad I was around to witness it. Guys, go check out Johnny Arnett's channel. It's awesome, and he's been pumping out a lot of content lately. At least that's what I feel. I've been watching a lot of his vids. I've been watching a lot on my own free time too that I'm not reacting to. And yeah, go check out the channel. It's good stuff. Guys, I will see you on the next one. But before that, I'll see you in the comments, okay? Can't wait to talk about it. Yep, like the vid, subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe plus if you want to do all the things. I appreciate you all. Everyone, be water, my friends.